Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 25 female, have always been really close to my cousin, D, 22 male. He had a harder time growing up because his parents had some financial difficulties. He never went to bed hungry, but they didn't have much money for luxuries. My uncle met his wife in a strip club where she was dancing. No one in the family knows this, but she left that work when she got married. They have a business, which D works for, that struggled for years, but was one of the businesses that became vital during the virus. So things really turned around for them and they were making bank. This means that a few months back, my cousin could have an amazing wedding and a 2-month-long worldwide honeymoon. I was really happy for and proud of him. I grew up solidly middle class. Nothing lavish, but we had some things that some would consider luxuries. My parents, however, were not in a position to pay for college for me, which I was chilled about, and I got loans. I've been working for 2 years, and I still live with my parents while I pay off the loans. I unfortunately couldn't get my master's because it wasn't financially viable. Last weekend was my birthday party, and my cousin showed up without a gift. His wife made a comment, jokingly, about how they can't afford anything after spending X on their wedding. None of this bothered me, because gifts are not an expectation, but my dad was visibly upset. I asked him about this, and he opened a can of worms. It turned out that I used to have a healthy college fund until my mom secretly lent it to my aunt and uncle to help save their business when I was 15. The agreement was that as soon as they were able, they would pay it back to my mom. They haven't returned a dime. They have, in the last 3 years, bought a second house, flown first class overseas twice, and paid for Dee's wedding and honeymoon. Their excuse is that I am done with college, and their son works hard, so he deserves it more. My father got so annoyed with my aunt while relaying this to me that he decided to kick them out. While trying to calm him down, I said, "We both know she only thinks about herself and Dee. If she had any class, she wouldn't dress like she's still a stripper." I was so preoccupied, I didn't realize that my entire family had quietly walked up with the candles lit, ready to sing to me, and they heard everything. My aunt left and has since sent my mom a message that we will never be seeing that money, as it is now compensation for her pain and suffering. I didn't mean to out her and be so rude. I was dealing with a lot of emotions and shock over this. I still am. My family doesn't know why we were so angry, so they just think I'm an A, and I don't want to tell them the whole story. But I'm not sure if it's excusable either way. So am I the a-hole? What? She stole from OP because they never paid it back, although they could have. Messed with OP's dreams, but provided her family with everything, all while rubbing it in OP's face, including at OP's own birthday party? Why would OP's mom even keep them around after all this time? That's just messed up. Also, I think OP's parents should have known better to loan out OP's college money. Incredibly irresponsible of them. In my opinion, OP's parents owe OP an apology for starting all of this by playing fast and loose with OP's college fund. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. R. Luna 911 says, "Not the a-hole. You acted from emotions, and to be honest, your aunt is an a-hole. Do whatever you can to get that money back. Use the text your aunt sent to sue. People like that are horrid. You could still get a master's if you wanted to. They stole from you. Low-key think your mom is too, since she lent the money in secret initially, and is probably a big reason your dad hasn't pushed for payback." Cap Manor 1755 says, "If your dad has any evidence of the loan and her agreement to repay it, I would 1. Pay a lawyer for a 1-hour consultation regarding the likelihood of suing her. Good news is that she has money and assets. 2. Armed with information from your lawyer, your parents should approach your aunt and propose a repayment plan. Emphasize that the loan was an agreement and that they aren't willing to write off such a substantial sum. This conversation is a courtesy notification, not a negotiation. You won't get your aunt's agreement here. If she was a reasonable person, she'd have already paid back the money. 3. I would disregard any noise about your insult. It's a red herring and a chance to divert focus from their theft. 4. Once you assemble evidence of her broken agreement, pick one reasonable, credible member of the extended family and share the situation with them. Ask for their guidance around persuading your aunt to return the stolen money without resorting to a lawsuit. There's a small chance they can help, and a nearly certain chance that they'll take care of the family rumor mill. Not the a-hole." Peanut Butter Cups 56 says, "Everyone sucks here. Your mom should not have secretly given your aunt your entire college fund. Your dad shouldn't have brought this to your attention on your birthday. Your aunt and uncle should return the money. Your cousin should have brought a gift. You don't have to come for the way she dresses. There are so many things you could say about your aunt that don't involve S-shaming her. How she dresses and the fact that she used to be a stripper have nothing to do with the fact that she's an a-hole. Update and answers. My cousin asked me to meet him alone this morning. It turned out he knew nothing about it at all. His mom has been keeping it quiet. He took this week to consult with a lawyer to figure out how much they owe. He has also recently uncovered two things. Firstly, the business has been evading tax, so he is very glad we didn't take legal action. He has started the process to come clean and pay that back. Secondly, she also borrowed money from my grandparents, a decent amount, which she never paid back. They have since passed on, so the lawyer said that amount will form part of the estate and will be owing between the three siblings. My cousin offered to sell his house to pay in full immediately if need be, but as an alternative, he and his lawyer have created a payment plan that would pay for my master's immediately. They will take over my loan repayments immediately. Once it is paid, they will continue paying my mom back monthly until the total is settled. We will obviously be going with the plan where he doesn't lose his home. Despite my cousin and his lawyer seeming fair, they have both advised me to find my own lawyer for my mom's interests, and they have offered to pay for that also. Because of the age of the loan and the lack of effort to collect on my mom's side, they could legally contest it, or some of it, but my cousin won't be doing that. My cousin apologized to me profusely and said that he wouldn't ask me to keep this secret from the family, but appreciates that I kept it to myself and hopes we can continue that as long as he upholds the agreement we make. My cousin is an amazing human, and we will work with him to try to make the impact of his mother's actions on his life be as little as possible while remaining fair. And the best part of all of this was that he planned on giving me my gift after my party when we were alone because he didn't want to steal my thunder. It was a gift card, and inside the envelope was a sonogram. I'm going to be a godmother soon, and I can't wait. The answers. The money was in a savings account that was going to be used for my college costs. It was in my mom's name, and so legally hers. She told my dad when I was applying for colleges. He's known for some time. I don't know if it affected their relationship and don't plan on asking. Her and my father have done little to get the money back because she is not coping well with stress due to being sick. My aunt was upset because I outed a 25-year-long lie, more so than people knowing her previous work. I have apologized to her for what I said via text and have left it at that. I've yet to hear back from her. I've also confronted my prejudice against S-workers privately. I won't deny I've judged her because of it. It's not something I'm proud of. This blew up at a bad time because my dad had overheard that my aunt is so proud of my cousin for moving out and living on his own at 22. He just boiled over on my behalf. My husband, 35 male, and I, 35 female, have been married for 5 years. We own a beautiful vacation home on the beach that we build ourselves and use throughout the year. My in-laws, 60s, have always been welcome guests, visiting for a few weeks here and there and contributing financially towards maintenance costs. Last month, my in-laws suddenly announced that they were selling their house to downsize and move into a tiny condo. Apparently, they've been secretly harboring this idea for months, never mentioning it to me or my husband. They plan to close on the sale in 2 weeks and then move into our vacation home for 6 months while they figure things out. I was floored. This house is our sanctuary, not a retirement home extension. We use it frequently, have friends and family booked to visit throughout the year, and rely on the income it generates during peak season. My in-laws, on the other hand, haven't lifted a finger on the property themselves and contributed only minimally. My husband, bless his sweet heart, is more understanding. He feels bad for his parents and believes we can make it work. His parents, sensing my resistance, are now guilt-tripping us, claiming to have nowhere else to go and offering to pay significantly more than their usual contribution. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let them move in? On one hand, I feel obligated to help family in need. But on the other, this feels like an outrageous imposition on our personal space and finances. In-laws intentionally decided to sell their house, which they didn't need to do, and decided that they would live in OP's vacation house without telling OP because they knew if they floated this plan months ago, before even putting their house on the market, OP would say no. OP's in-laws know that their son will always comply with their demands, so they know that once they have moved into the vacation home, it will be theirs because they will never leave. So this isn't about helping out a family member in distress. This is about OP's in-laws taking advantage of OP's husband's weakness. This is a hill to die on. The solution is no. They cannot move into the vacation home. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Living Highlights 77 says, "Not the a-hole. It is outrageous. You'd be well within your right to say no. But I'm curious, how is your relationship with them otherwise? How is your husband's relationship with them? What other options do they have? Again, you have every right to say no, and it would not make you the a-hole. But is it worth the damage it could do? In other words, are you okay with whatever fallout occurs? If you end up deciding to let them stay, I would be very clear about how upset and disrespected you feel, and that if they ever pull anything like that again, you're going to have major problems." OK Play says, "No effing way. They should have had things figured out before they sold their house. How do you know if they even plan on moving out? Where's their furniture going? This would be a marriage-ending decision for me." Snoo Hesitation says, "Not the a-hole. If they're willing to pay, they can rent a home. Your second home is booked, and you cannot cancel bookings without interruption to your rental business." My ex-stepdaughter Carla is 27, and her mom Vanessa and I divorced 2 years ago after a 23-year marriage. It was a painful divorce, because after Vanessa and I entered our mid-40s, it felt like I always fulfilled my obligation to fulfill her emotionally and financially. However, Vanessa turned a blind eye to the fact that I was being neglected romantically, and yes, I finally filed for divorce. Vanessa accused me of cheating, and it was difficult to now speak with Carla as more like acquaintances or friends, rather than as somebody who I will see at dinner later tonight. Vanessa and I have 2 kids of our own, now 18 and 13. I've recently remarried, and my wife has a 4-year-old son, and we recently found out that we are expecting. Our new blended family has adjusted remarkably well, and it's the first time in a while since I felt contentment at home. Like I was not just working to replace what I didn't have at home, or worse, to get away from the dull emptiness of home life. However, with a new baby on the way and our town being a small town, Carla and I are in a cold war of sorts. Like the phone works both ways, we both know that, but there's something telling me that it's not really wise to reach out. Carla was upset because my new wife's sister, Allie, 28 female, is sort of known for being a job hopper who was working at the gas station. Allie, because she has no GED, has faced job issues. I did previously talk to Carla about an unpaid internship at my real estate company when she graduated from her post-grad program. But the divorce happened, and I tabled the discussion. Allie made it clear every time we saw each other, she is a choir member at the church we go to, that she desperately wanted out of retail, that she's not cut out for customers thinking they are above her. I felt bad for her and gave her an assistant property management job. Carla is mad because Allie's mom started saying that her daughter didn't finish high school, but was now making $70,000 a year plus annual bonuses, and that you didn't need a GED or a trade to earn money. Carla was upset and said she also hated how distant I've become. Our fight shocked me because it's the first time since the divorce I was being questioned on everything and made to feel I'm doing everything wrong. I eventually cooled down from the fight. This happened a month ago, but I realized that with the baby coming and me getting older, I needed to set up my estate so that it makes sense to my current family. After consulting my attorney, he said there's no obligation to include an adult biological child, never mind a former stepchild, but that if I wanted to go the route of specifically excluding Carla so she couldn't try to argue something, I could still do that. I ended up having my will set so my current wife, stepson, and bio kids are in it. Am I the a-hole? OP was his stepdaughter's father for 20-plus years, and he wants to include a stepson he has known less than his stepdaughter. OP is shallow. He threw Carla away along with his wife. It's not her fault that OP filed for divorce, but it seems like OP is trying to punish her too. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Careless Welder says, "It's your choice, and us calling you a jerk won't change anything. But really, you are excluding Carla, but not your stepson. That sounds wrong. I mean, you cared for her for 23 years, and it doesn't matter? I don't see your reason at all. You seem cold to be able to do that to your ex-stepdaughter." Maya Papaya LA says, "He raised this child since age 4 until age 25. Once he got a divorce, he starts feeling there's something telling me that it's not really wise to reach out, and no longer contacts her, nor wants to give her an unpaid internship at his office. Once she told him that she hates how distant he's been, he discovers he can legally disinherit her and wants to do so. The answer is, you're the a-hole." BR Sox 2445 says, "You have no obligation to put an ex-wife's child in your will, but it really feels like you are making a jerk move of it. You were in this girl's life as a father for 25 years, and then wham! Suddenly finds out you didn't really see her as a daughter in the slightest. That's messed up to the nth degree, man. No two ways about it. Include the child in your will and be a man. I just married my wife. We've been together for almost 2 years. She has a daughter, almost 2 years old, from a previous relationship. Bio dad isn't in the picture. The wedding was back in September. Her daughter was around 18 months old at that point. She was going to be our flower girl. We had arranged for our regular babysitter to stay with her during the ceremony and take her home for the reception. But right when the wedding started, she had a meltdown and only wanted her mom, so my wife held her through the entire wedding ceremony. She got hungry and cranky during the ceremony, so my wife tried passing her off to the babysitter so she could have a snack, but she wasn't having it. So my wife held her daughter while her daughter was eating a Ziploc bag of dry cereal during our wedding ceremony. She was also with my wife throughout the reception. We just got the wedding pictures back, and a lot of them have the baby eating cereal on my wife's hip in them. I told my wife I wanted to Photoshop her out of some of the pictures and put the Photoshopped ones up, at least to make it look like the wedding went the way we planned it. My wife thinks the pictures with her daughter are cute and wants to hang those up. She doesn't see why we would Photoshop anybody out of our wedding pictures. I told her I wanted the pictures to look a little more elegant, and a baby eating cereal out of a Ziploc bag isn't exactly elegant. She's upset now because she thinks I'm trying to erase her daughter and is currently sleeping in her daughter's room. Wandering Storm says, "Not the a-hole. I was ready to be angry with you from the title, but you're not trying to remove your stepdaughter from your wedding altogether. You're trying to get some pictures of you and your bride on your special day that don't include a tantrumy toddler and her snacks. There's nothing wrong with that." It's Adolchev says, "Do a fancy romantic photo shoot with just your wife. Put those pictures up. And also the unphotoshopped pictures from the actual wedding." Purple Vermont says, "Why are you trying to create fantasy photos of a wedding that didn't happen the way you imagined it might? What happened happened. You married a woman with a young child, and that child ended up being right in the middle of things. Accept this with good humor, and put up pics of the wedding you actually had. Things do not always go to plan. The more you can learn to see the humor and roll with things and smile about them afterwards, the happier you all will be. You're the a-hole.